life doesn't always start fair. For many, childhood is filled with comfort, support, and guidance. But for some, it begins in struggle, uncertainty, and hardship. This is the story of James Parker, a man who faced homelessness, poverty, and countless obstacles, yet rose to build $1 million business and inspire thousands around the world. James grew up in a small town in the UK. His childhood was far from easy. His parents struggled financially, working multiple jobs just to make ends meet. James often watched his friends enjoy toys, vacations, and stability, things he had never experienced. By the age of 16, his parents separated, leaving James with a broken home and little guidance. After finishing school, James found it difficult to secure a stable job. He bounced between part-time gigs, working in cafes, delivering newspapers, and cleaning offices. Despite his hard work, he could barely afford rent. At 19, James faced the unthinkable. He lost his small apartment and became homeless. Sleeping on the streets, in shelters, and sometimes in his car, he felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. Many would have given up, but not James. Instead of letting despair define him, James used this low point as a turning moment. He realized that the key to survival, and eventually success, was creativity, persistence, and learning new skills. He started spending time in public libraries, reading books on business, entrepreneurship, and personal development. He absorbed every word, every story of people who had overcome adversity. James noticed a growing demand for eco-friendly products. People were becoming conscious of the environment, yet small businesses selling sustainable items were scarce in his town. He knew he had to act, but he had no money, no office, and no network. What he did have was determination. He began small. James collected discarded materials and learned how to upcycle them into practical, sustainable products, bags, containers, and decorative items. He spent long nights crafting these items in community centers and friends' garages. Using social media platforms, he started sharing pictures of his products online, telling his story of struggle and hope. People were drawn not just to his products but to the journey behind them. The first breakthrough came when a local cafe agreed to sell his recycled products. Slowly, word spread. James reinvested every penny into improving his products and expanding his reach. He started attending small local markets and craft fairs, sharing not only his products but also the story of his journey from homelessness to entrepreneurship. The authenticity of his story resonated with customers, and soon sales began to grow. Within 2 years, James had transformed his small initiative into a full-fledged online store. Orders started pouring in not just locally, but across the UK. With dedication, strategic planning, and relentless hard work, his brand became known for quality, sustainability, and authenticity. By the age of 26, James had built a business valued at over £1 million, a dream that once seemed impossible when he slept on the streets. But James didn't stop there. He wanted to give back to the community that had inspired and supported him. He began hosting workshops for homeless youth, teaching them skills in entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and personal development. His goal was to empower others to see that no matter how difficult life might be, success is possible with perseverance, creativity, and courage. James' story teaches us several crucial lessons. Adversity can fuel success. The toughest challenges often prepare us for the greatest triumphs. Education is a lifelong journey, even without formal opportunities. Knowledge is a tool that can change your life. Start small, think big. Every small step counts. From upcycled items to $1 million business, growth begins with action. Authenticity matters. Sharing your true story creates a connection that no advertisement can replicate. Giving back multiplies success. Real impact comes when success is shared with others. Today, James Parker is more than just a successful entrepreneur. He is a symbol of hope. A man who went from having nothing to creating opportunities for himself and others. His story reminds us that while life may throw obstacles in our path, determination, creativity, and hard work can transform dreams into reality. As you watch this journey, remember that every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. James' life shows that no matter where you start, your mindset, courage, and persistence can redefine your future. From homeless to millionaire, his story is not just about wealth. It's about resilience, vision, and the human spirit's capacity to rise. So, if you're facing challenges today, take a page from James Parker's journey. Keep learning, keep pushing, and keep believing. Your story might just inspire someone else tomorrow. Life has a way of testing us in the most unexpected ways. For James Parker, the path to success was never straight or easy. Born in a small town in the UK, James grew up in a household where money was always tight. His parents worked tirelessly, juggling multiple jobs just to provide food and shelter. Even as a child, James knew what it meant to struggle. But he also learned early the value of resilience. At school, James wasn't the top student. He faced bullying and rejection from peers, which only added to his sense of isolation. By the age of 16, his world changed dramatically. His parents separated, and the stability he had known evaporated. With little guidance and few opportunities, he dropped out of school, determined to find work and survive on his own. The real challenge came after school. Jobs were scarce and wages were low. James moved from one part-time job to another, cafes, cleaning services, delivery jobs, but no position could provide him with financial security. He barely made enough to cover rent, and at 19 he lost his apartment. Suddenly, James found himself homeless. Nights on the streets, temporary shelters, and even his car became his home. The fear, uncertainty, and cold nights could have broken anyone. But James chose a different path. Instead of giving in to despair, James turned his situation into a source of motivation. He spent hours in public libraries, devouring books on business, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. He learned about people who had faced failures, rejections, and poverty, yet rose to achieve incredible success. He realized that knowledge, creativity, and persistence were his weapons to fight back against circumstances. James noticed an emerging trend. People were increasingly concerned about the environment, yet sustainable, eco-friendly products were hard to find in his town. This was his opportunity. Without money, office space, or connections, James started small. He collected discarded materials and learned to upcycle them into useful, stylish products. From bags to home decor, he crafted each piece with care. His first workshop was a small corner of a friend's garage, where he would spend hours perfecting his creations. Social media became his gateway. He posted photos of his products online, but he also shared his personal story, his struggles, his homelessness, and his determination to succeed. People were drawn not only to the products but also to the journey behind them. A local cafe agreed to feature his items, and soon word of mouth helped expand his reach. The growth was gradual but steady. James reinvested every penny, improving product quality, exploring better marketing strategies, and attending local markets. Customers were inspired by his resilience as much as by his products. By leveraging authenticity, storytelling, and a relentless work ethic, James slowly built a brand that people trusted and loved. After 2 years of relentless effort, James launched a full online store. His products reached customers across the UK, and eventually international orders began to flow in. Every success, no matter how small, reinforced his belief that hard work, creativity, and determination could turn even the direst circumstances into opportunity. By the age of 26, James had built a business valued at over £1 million, a dream that had once seemed impossible while sleeping on the streets. But James' journey was never just about money. He knew the importance of giving back. He started workshops for homeless youth, teaching skills in entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and personal growth. He became a mentor and inspiration to many, proving that success is most meaningful when shared. James' story is a testament to the human spirit. It teaches us that adversity is not the end. It can be the beginning of something extraordinary. That knowledge, creativity, and relentless persistence are keys to overcoming challenges. That small steps taken consistently can lead to monumental success. And yet, James' story doesn't stop here. He continues to innovate, explore new markets, and expand his impact. From mentoring youth to launching new eco-friendly product lines, his journey is ongoing. Every day brings new challenges, but James faces them with the same determination that carried him from the streets to a thriving business empire. He has become a living example of what is possible when one refuses to surrender to circumstances. The man who once had nothing now inspires thousands to dream bigger, work harder, and believe in their own potential. His life reminds us that wealth is not only measured in money but in resilience, creativity, and the ability to inspire others. For anyone watching, James' journey shows that the path to success is never easy, but every obstacle holds a lesson, every struggle builds character, and every failure brings you one step closer to triumph. Life has a strange way of testing our limits. For James Parker, the streets were more than a place to sleep. They were a harsh classroom. Every night brought uncertainty, hunger, and fear. He often wondered if life would ever offer him a chance to rise. Yet, in the face of darkness, James discovered a spark, a refusal to be defeated. He started small. Libraries became his refuge. Books on entrepreneurship, finance, and psychology were his companions. Every page offered ideas, strategies, and stories of others who had climbed from nothing to success. Slowly, James realized that knowledge was not just power, it was freedom. The first breakthrough came in a most humble way. While scavenging for materials in his neighborhood, James noticed discarded items, wood, fabric, and small household objects that could be transformed into products people would actually buy. He began crafting them meticulously, turning discarded scraps into useful, aesthetically pleasing items. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. Social media became his platform to reach the world. James didn't just post products. He shared his story, the struggles of homelessness, the fear of uncertainty, and the determination to succeed. People connected instantly. Customers weren't just buying recycled products. They were investing in hope, inspiration, and authenticity. The first order came from a small local cafe. James delivered his handcrafted items, nervous but hopeful. The cafe owners loved not only the quality but also the story behind each product. Word spread slowly at first, then with growing momentum. Every sale, every positive comment, reinforced his belief that he was on the right path. James worked relentlessly. Days blurred into nights as he perfected his products and learned marketing strategies online. Each setback, like a shipment lost or a social media post failing to get attention, was treated as a lesson, not a defeat. Gradually, his small venture evolved into a recognizable brand. Within 2 years, James had created a full online store. His products reached cities across the UK, and soon international orders began to arrive. Customers were not only buying his creations, they were inspired by his journey from the streets to entrepreneurship. Testimonials poured in, stories of how James' courage motivated others to pursue their own dreams. By the age of 26, James' business had grown beyond what he had imagined. Valued at over £1 million, it was a testament not only to his skill and creativity but also to his resilience and vision. Yet, James knew that true success was measured not in money alone but in impact. He started offering workshops for homeless youth and underprivileged communities. James taught not just business skills but also the principles of perseverance, self-belief, and creativity. His aim was to show others that their circumstances did not define them. Rather, their actions, mindset, and determination did. Through these workshops, James discovered another level of fulfillment. Watching young people gain confidence, develop skills, and begin their own ventures reminded him of his own journey. Every story he inspired created a ripple, extending his influence far beyond the products he sold. James' life became a blueprint for the power of human spirit. It showed that adversity could ignite creativity, and obstacles could reveal hidden potential. From the cold streets to a thriving business, he demonstrated that every small step, every effort, no matter how insignificant it seemed at the moment, could accumulate into something extraordinary. And yet, James' story doesn't stop here. He continues to explore new ideas, expand his brand, and mentor others. Each day brings new challenges, new goals, and new opportunities to grow. His journey reminds us that success is not a destination but a continuous path, one that requires vision, courage, and persistence. James Parker proves that your past does not dictate your future. He went from having nothing to becoming a beacon of hope and inspiration for thousands. His story is a living lesson that even in the face of extreme hardship, human determination, creativity, and courage can transform lives in unimaginable ways. As you follow his journey, you learn that challenges are stepping stones, failures are lessons, and resilience is the bridge to success. James' rise from homelessness to entrepreneurship is far more than a financial story. It is a story of human potential, of perseverance, and the transformative power of hope.